think he was there better.
You got one more trying to scramble, they got to go on for it this month.
Yeah, I know. You gotta have to be ready.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of wanted me to drink.
Mr. Salon, how you doing, buddy?
So we're gonna do it, so I think we're gonna have time to tomorrow. So we'll check everything out.
Won't hurt my feelings, huh? That would be fun. Oh, yeah. Yep, for a short time, but still. That way you're out of the water. Yeah, well, oh, sorry.
No, I got a meeting.
Well, it's easy to take the day off. You should have done it.
How about that?
Yep. You get to. Work, I don't even know where you're working. Oh, okay. I didn't know what you did.
Accounting.
What? We're trying to figure out how Hamlin got so tall. You got a booster seat you're sitting in?
We're not making any comments.
No comment, yeah.
We don't wanna make you say anything. Ed and I are taking a.
Break you can buy 'em.
What happens over here stays over here. We're down here, you're up here.
streets the other day to do this sale of these. The 10th Street, South Highway sale of these.
Oh, yeah. Wait, his name was a General, he was small. Lived in Grand, we can't get by it. You weren't even there yet. He took a picture of that.
There was an ordinance in 2009.
I was trying to come out the windows or something.
If you're right, you're on.
Yep.
If you're right, you're on. We have,
How's everybody get turned on? I don't.
No, I know, but my point is, you should be the one here.
Just change the.
Nope.
Yeah, right, before you guys got there.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
Call the meeting to order, quick read the roll.
Mayor Hollenbeck,
Here.
Commissioner Kaminsky,
Here.
Small,
Here.
Shive,
Here.
Buckingham.
Here. I started to say she's here. You're really cutting it close this time. Okay, got me all flustered now. Rise for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Kaminsky that the minutes of the council meeting held January 21st, 2026 be approved and placed on file.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small. Aye. Shive.
Aye.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye.
That's not good.
Anyone wishing to appear before the council?
I'd like to, may I read a letter from a resident, please?
You want to do it now or when your turn comes? You can go ahead and do it now, I guess.
I mean, this is verbatim, and I thank you. From Mary Setko, CENTKO, resident of Marseilles, subject formal request regarding Danielson Stevenson Park funding and ordinance. To the members of the City Council, I am writing you today as a concerned resident of Marseilles to address the ongoing development and maintenance of Danielson Stevenson Park. While I am unable to attend tonight's meeting in person, I request that this statement be read into the record. My concerns center on the long-standing agreement established in 2009. It was my understanding and the understanding of many in this community that this agreement was intended to placate residents' concerns regarding the land's use by ensuring that revenue from the cell tower lease would be dedicated to the park's development. I am requesting that the City Council take the following actions. 1. Draft a new ordinance. Establish a dedicated Danielson Stevenson Park Fund, whereby 75% of all rent and lease revenue from the property is legally mandated to be deposited into this fund. 2. Provide budgetary clarification. Currently, there is a significant discrepancy between the total revenue generated by the lease and the amount reflected in the budget for park expenses. It appears only about 1/3 of that revenue is being utilized as originally intended. I ask for a transparent accounting of where the remaining funds have been allocated. The residents of the 10th and 11th Street areas, particularly the families and children who rely on our local parks, deserve the fulfillment of the promises made by the city over a decade ago. Transparency in how this revenue is handled is the only way to maintain trust between the taxpayers and city leadership. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to the families of Marseilles. Sincerely, Mary Senko, Marseilles resident.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything to say? Seeing none, we'll move forward to Commissioner Kaminsky, bi-monthly expense report.
Moved by Commissioner Kaminsky that the accounts payable for the last half of January in the amount of $96,937.51 be approved, and a warrant be drawn on the city treasury for the several amounts.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Besides our routine bills, Morton Salt, we bought salt for $5,996.42. Blue Cross Blue Shield, $30,245.15.16. Illinois Power Marketing, Homefield Electric, $25,319.41. Illinois Public Works Fund, March Workman's Comp, $6,385. And then Facet, who does our service for our ISP and computers for police and City Hall, $4,166.69. Nightcore Gas, $4,661.68. Any questions?
I do have a question about, in keeping with the letter from the resident. The ordinance in 2009 that was to create a Danielson-Stevenson Park Fund.
Does that have anything to do with the expense?
Well, it has to do with finance, and I am parks, so I believe that now is the proper time to ask the question.
No, that's not the proper time. This is to
Okay.
talk about our accounts payable.
Wait.
We could bring this up later down the line. That's
Okay,
fine.
no, 10-4. In times past, I have tried to speak on that at my time and been told it was the wrong time. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, very good. That's all I have for that. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, we have a motion in a second.
Yep.
Clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small. Aye. Shive.
No.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye. Number 2.
Moved by Commissioner Kaminsky that the payroll for the last half of January in the amount of $94,603.03 be approved and a warrant be drawn on the city treasury for the several amounts.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
No, Mayor.
Clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small. Aye. Shive.
Abstain.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye. Commissioner, anything else, Commissioner Kaminsky?
No, Mayor.
Commissioner Small?
Yes, first off, I would like to say thank you to our first responders and all departments who aided in the recent house fire that we had in town. Greatly appreciate all the efforts from all responding departments and all our first responders. And a big thank you to our streets guys with that water main break from that call. Appreciate all their hard work. And just an update, we do have 6 of our officers who are currently certified in crisis, intervention training. So basically that means they get a 40-hour course of specialized training that helps them respond to any resident or community member who's experiencing any sort of mental health or behavioral crisis. Mental health is obviously a very big issue and very prevalent right now currently. So getting that extra training is very helpful. Last year they had 40 plus situations that they responded to, and the numbers are kind of growing to be a little bit higher than that this year, on track with that. So appreciate the hard work that they do to get that extra training so they're better prepared to handle any type of situation a little more hands-on and a little more specialized when it does occur. And that is all I have this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Schott?
So Lyons Avenue is kind of Schrodinger's city street. It both is and isn't. My understanding is that it is, but the mayor's at the meeting last time was that it wasn't. Is that a fair summary of what we've discussed and also what was said at the last meeting? So I do want to make clear that it is my belief, and obviously we'll have to discuss this further with both zoning and history and engineering as to what exactly the city's rights and responsibilities are for that street. But I believe that as far as the right-of-way goes, it is a city street. Obviously, we'll need some clarity on that. However, so just kind of wanted to mention that, the resident expressed concerns, and I don't think that we have I don't know that we gave him a clear answer.
We have not given him a clear answer, as I indicated in my email communication to both you and the mayor, and I know, Mike, you've been out of town, but it looks, I did receive a survey from Jeff Etchai that does seem to indicate that this is a city street, or there's no evidence to indicate otherwise, but I think there needed to be some more communication.
There are other surveys down there and other documents that I have in the file. We've gone through this before, but I'd like to refresh my memory on this thing, that this is a reserved street. It's a public street, but it's not a maintained street.
Yeah, understood. What the resident was told was that it was not a city street, and I wanted to correct that. That's all. Thank
Well,
you.
you can correct it when we find out for sure. How's that?
Well, but are you certain that it's not a city street? You said that it wasn't.
Well,
And if there's ambiguity, we should say there's ambiguity.
I don't consider an area being reserved for a street at a later date to be a city street. And if it is a city street, we better tear his blacktop up, and we better construct it proper width and DOT maintenance. So if you're ready to do that, DOT spec.
Well, yeah, no, I think there's a legitimate grievance between the two parties involved, and I think having clarity onto what our rights and responsibilities are is inherently healthy.
Absolutely.
But then you told them it wasn't a city street, which I don't think was helpful at that moment, and we should be clear right now that we're looking into the ambiguity. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Mayor, is that a fair statement?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Also, shout out to the water main crew. I greatly appreciate them. That was certainly a rough day. And also to our first responders, greatly appreciated on the whole fire. Yikes. I'd also like to thank all the residents that submitted letters for the Illinois Street grant. I remember one of them sadly has since moved away. Wish he would have stuck around. Saw the fruits of his labor, but I remember going door to door after work one afternoon. Made sure I was out of uniform and everything, you know, but also just thank you for all of that. Now, the city and both the Ottawa Times called it $1 billion. It was a mistake. It was 3 zeros, but I had visions of Dr. Evil, $1 billion. So again, I asked this just because we have the 10th Street cell tower sale of lease on our agenda, and I've been led to believe that there's a resident attached to the donation who's expressed concerns. I know that a resident involved. I don't think she lives in the corporation, but I believe it is an heir of the property's expressed concerns. In 2009, we had passed an ordinance to establish a Danielson-Stevenson Park Fund. The ordinance was shared with me by Commissioner Kaminsky, and I thank you for it. It's my understanding that that fund was never created. Now, I understand how money can be used, fungible assets, and that a park was built. I understand all of that. But given that residents' concerns, I would like to table the 10th Street cell tower, and I realize there'll be Robert's Rules of Order for when it's introduced, but I'd really like some time for us to consider to address that individual's concerns regarding that. Lastly, rain barrels. I had a couple of residents say, hey, let's consider doing a rain barrel program. In Morris, Lyondell, Basel, I'm going to say it wrong. There's a company out there. Let's just say Lyondell kicks in some money for toward the purchase of rain barrels for residents. I believe such the cost to resident is pretty low. And then I believe in Ottawa there's a rain barrel program, but I think you can speak more to that than I can, Attorney Campbell, but I think that's more of a revenue neutral, where the city kind of acts as the middleman.
I know the city has one. I'm not familiar with the terms, but can certainly ask.
Yeah, very good, thank you. So I guess what I'm trying to gauge from the rest of the council before I look into it and try to consider begging someone to propose it, what would you think about having a rain barrel program here in the city of Marseilles? Might even be beneficial on a very low level for stormwater management, that sort of thing. So I wanted to shoot that out there and see what you think.
So are we buying the barrels or are they buying the barrels, first of all?
So one potential way to do it is simply for it to be revenue neutral. They pay all the cost of it, but then we would have an event where we would then pass out the barrels to the residents who purchased them. It's also possible that the city could say kick in $10 or $20 a barrel as a subsidy. But let's say 50 people do it, it'd be $500 or $1,000. I mean, it would be, I think, very manageable.
Mike, I'd be interested in, let's do some research on it from Ottawa, and who else you said does it?
Morris does one.
Morris, why don't you get those ordinances, get them together, and let's see what it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with that interest, yeah, thank you. And also, I guess just my question is there anywhere else in the budget as far as revenue coming in besides 386.3, which is the general fund, and 386.2, which goes into drug and DUI enforcement?
Right, that's the only two.
Those are the only two, okay. Is there a logical nexus between the cell tower revenue and drug and DUI enforcement?
I believe that was set up with prior commissioners.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they're supposed to get 25%.
Yeah, it's like 25%, 75% drops into the
75% goes into the general fund.
general fund, and then it all gets sorted out with rec board and parks.
Yeah, I mean, that's my concern with the 2009, and I understand that like leases change, and gosh, Verizon versus 10, Chicago 10 megahertz versus whomever. I mean, this is way above my pay grade. If I understood DBAs and LLCs, I would not be a mailman. However, having said that, it just appears that there was an agreement made based on a grievance that there would be a fund that would be created. That was in 2009 from the ordinance you have, and it's my understanding that ordinance has never been rescinded.
And to my understanding, I don't think I was in the council, neither was anybody else but Jim, so I can't speak for
The
that
the order.
order.
whole disagreement then was the owners of the property that gave the property to the city said it reverted. That it wasn't used for public purposes. When the thing for the cell tower came up, they said, oh, you're gonna sell the property. No, we're not selling the property. So it went back and forth, and so the city agreed that they would create the park they wanted.
And the park fund.
The city did create the park.
But it says fund, it doesn't say park. It says the creation of a Danielson-Stevenson Park Fund. The word is fund. I understand the park exists. The word in the ordinance is fund, and that fund, to my knowledge, was never created.
Well, that's something that should have been done by the
Well, that's a
previous
form of-
treasurer, Mario Alonzi, and it wasn't done.
Without speaking to that, right now, we are looking at a sale of lease, and I think that history is pertinent such that we should investigate it, contact the heir, and discuss if she has any problems with what we're doing.
I don't believe
Park-
the cell tower
park-
lease
park
has
is there.
anything to do
What
with
is the
the
problem?
park.
The word of the ordinance is fund. I'll read it to you because it says
I
specifically
know it. I
Danielson
read it.
Stevenson Park Fund. The word is fund, and that fund was never created. That is us violating our own ordinance, which is a pattern of behavior. You laugh all you want, Mayor. There's an ordinance in 2009, and I'm trying to avoid us getting sued.
Well, I'm not even gonna address that.
Well, you are suing the city, so there is that. Anyway,
No,
that's
I'm
us.
suing you as a city official, so.
It literally said City of Marseilles as a defendant, body politic, right? I mean, am I making that up, or is that just something that's not in writing?
Congratulations, I think you went 2 years now with bringing that up at every meeting.
I don't know
think
where that
people got
ordinance
it.
came
Well,
up,
I'm trying to-
why it came up, they create the fund. It doesn't matter, the money was generated. You know, the city has spent $120,000 developing the park, whether the fund is there or not. And they got in revenues from the park, from the cell tower lease, over that period of time, about $45,000. We've done our,
And there was also, I understand, it was a
You're
Constellation or
mixing
Exelon donations as well as a local developer. The point is that the ordinance says fund. That fund was not, in point of fact, created.
so what do you do if we create the fund now?
I think you negotiate with the aggrieved individual and restart the fund through
Council,
some
is
manner
there
of
any,
negotiation.
what's the legal standpoint of this?
I mean, how,
It's 2009,
yeah.
what, where we at? I mean, without researching this, Christina, where we at?
He's been trying for 2 years to get an I gotcha on the council, so.
Well-
Point of order. I thought you were not doing personal attacks. I have a good faith concern about a 2000. No, not you, Commissioner Kaminsky. The mayor said that I'm trying to get a gotcha, and I most certainly am not.
I mean,
I was-
if we vote on to sell this property today, are we gonna be held legally responsible for not creating that fund in 2009?
First of all, I'd have to look at even what the cell tower lease says. I'm not familiar with this 2009 language that you're referring to in the ordinance. I've not seen it, so until I look at it, I couldn't provide any opinion on it.
Okay, thank you.
So if there are outstanding issues, and, you know, as a point of order, really any discussion regarding the 10th Street cell tower should be done in the agenda item.
That Commissioner Buckingham said,
Right, we
yes.
have a motion, a second.
Second, and then
discussion.
Mike can make a table motion.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, so I would say.
So you okay,
procedure-
Mike, moving on to the next part?
Yeah, no, I absolutely
I do
am.
wanna point out something else too, in this ordinance, it says that it'll be on the city's property, where the water tower is. The park's not there. So what do? We go by this ordinance, we move the park over to the 10th Street Tower?
Oh,
That won't fit.
Christina, I do have a question. I have not read that ordinance in detail, so I would not be able to give a very, detailed response to this. My only question would be, without getting into semantics, would a fund constitute the money that was already allocated and or invested into that park? Would that be considered technically, by definition, a fund?
It's possible.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
possible,
but-
and it
Thank you.
didn't create, generally speaking, there could be an argument that those funds were allocated, they just weren't correctly line item on a budget, but there's a tracking
Yes.
of
Yeah,
those
of course. I
funds
mean,
and
So
the
that would be
deposit of
considered a
those
fund.
Yeah, we do.
funds.
Thank
And
you.
you could,
I mean, we
present.
kinda do fund, accounting here with our general fund, so it's got a line item that says,
Well, some
Tower.
people have trouble reading that.
Oh, well, okay, once again, I thought we were not doing personal attacks. Some people have trouble reading that, and I'm saying that a separate fund called Danielson Stevenson Park Fund,
understand.
as per the ordinance in 2009, was in point of fact not created. And I do think that, and Attorney Campbell, I'm correct, that you're saying it's possible that the money could be considered a fund, but not necessarily so, is that correct?
I haven't looked at it.
Exactly so.
Until I look at it, but it sounds like we need to see that there was funds that were designated, there was money
yeah.
received for
There-
this particular project.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, so-
Commissioner Shive was wanting somebody here to give him an answer to something that almost 20 years ago. Nobody up here can say why the fund wasn't created.
But we're, okay, I will discuss this at Buckingham, at Commissioner Buckingham's portion.
Okay. But with that being said, I'm gonna wait for Commissioner Buckingham to, you have anything else, Commissioner Shaw?
I do not, thank you.
Commissioner Buckingham?
Yeah, once again, wanna echo what, Russ, you said about the fire department, the EMS personnel, did one hell of a job, I'm proud of you guys. So I mean, for a structure fire, to get up there that quick, I'm proud of you. The other thing is, 10th Street, wall tower, cell tower, you wanna discuss that or no?
Well, first you would need a motion.
Motion.
Based, if you wanna
Well,
have.
we got a motion to sell it, so we should probably read that, and we'll either get voted up or voted down.
Correct.
Okay.
Moved by Commissioner moved by Commissioner Buckingham, that the offer from Landmark Dividend to buy out the 10th Street cell tower lease in the amount of $230,000 be approved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Like to make a motion to table?
Wait,
I'm sorry.
hold on,
Sure.
now would be the appropriate time to ask for
Discussion.
discussion.
So the reason why I tabled this last time, when Mike was on vacation, and then this, where we're at today, is my previous position 5 years ago was in this building, and I dealt with American Tower. I had to check on one crucial thing before this company was gonna make a purchase for this tower, and that was correct. In the industry-wide, what's going on with small cell deployment is that these cell tower companies, which is Verizon, AT&T, Mobile, they go on these towers for 10, 15 years, 20 years. As soon as those contracts are done, they come off those towers and they do small cell deployment. So they'll do them on the telephone poles and in urban areas. So my question was, if we lost revenue, does American Tower still continue to pay us for the lost revenue of that second carrier or third carrier, so on and so forth? But I was exactly right. When they come off, we lose money. So
There's no reimbursement.
there's no reimbursement going forward. So my concern is going forward with everything and how the networks change and how you went from 20 cell phone carriers down to 4, I think it's the best time for us to get some kind of funding out of it before we start dwindling down. And if you take the funding we have in today, it'd take us to about 2032 to get the exact same money we're getting today.
2038.
2038.
For 2038,
Yeah.
get 2030,000.
So 2038 would give us the same amount of money we're gonna ask for as a one time. Now, I'm gonna agree with Mike, I don't wanna get sued. So, going forward, I think that's something we should look at too before we sell the property, but at this point, my vote is to sell the property. Mike, I know you did some research and you did some more homework on this, you wanna take it from here?
Yeah, this goes back a ways, goes back to 1972, when the Danielson and Stevens families conveyed the property for the 10th Street well house to the city. And the purpose was for public use. What they wanted was a well, a water tower, and a well house on the property. And they wanted the city to do that. The city did do that. They had those things built, and
Was this part of the sale, Mike? Can I just interrupt? Was there a sale? And the city agreed
It's a
to,
warranty deed to the city.
okay, it's a warranty deed to the city, in exchange for them giving us the property, they were gonna do these.
It didn't say that.
Okay,
It did not say that. It just said they were giving us the property for public use.
Use,
Public
okay.
purpose. There's also a reverter in there. We don't use it for public use, it goes back to them. So that's where it gets a little scary is, of what they did. Anyway, the purpose, why they were doing this is they were developing property in the area. And the water system was inadequate to take care of it. So they got the city to put a well in, water tower, et cetera, et cetera. And they did the development. Noted that both of those members were on the city council at that time.
The landowners run the city council?
Pardon?
The landowners run the city?
They are city council. both of them.
Eugene Stevenson and Lauren Daniels.
Engineer Edscheid, are you familiar with the threat of litigation in 2009
Yes.
and the communication?
No, it was in 2006.
Okay, so then in 2009, you're aware of the communication between the heirs of Danielson Stevenson and the city of Marseilles.
That was in 2007.
Okay, so I'm reading this from May 21st, 2009, and I am neither the attorney or the client in this situation. It was shared with me. Okay, so I did not come to this information in any way based on my city employment.
so why did they send it to you, Commissioner Shine?
There's a resident who's an heir who is aggrieved by what's
So
going on.
this is a Marseilles resident that resides at the property.
This is someone who resides outside the property, but she is an heir of the people who donated that land.
Okay, and was this estate probated? Does she indicate?
I cannot speak to that. I am telling you that there is somebody with what I consider to be very likely a legal concern who shared with somebody else, who then shared with me correspondence that suggests to me that there can be litigation from this, and that there were wranglings in 2009 that we really need to consider before we vote on the cell tower. And I'd like to read this, please. If not, Christina, I'd like you to at least have a look at it. And
I'm fine with you reading
Okay,
it. I
thank
just
you.
wanted to know the context
Yes.
behind how it came to light or how it was brought up.
yeah,
What's the
so
date on this letter?
2000.
May 21st, 2009.
Okay, hang on a minute, I believe Mike had the floor.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, no, and again, seriously, I think this is pertinent, and please for one, I mean, frankly, I'm speaking under a lot of duress, because I have a good faith concern, and I believe that I have been punished for that in the legal system. So, I'm not saying this because I want to, okay? I'm saying this out of my due diligence.
Is that letter in any of the city files?
I do not know. May 21st, 2009.
Who's it sent to?
From Hupp, Lanuti, Ariane, and Burton to Jane Ryan, Law Offices of Peter Ferracuti, PC, 110 East Main Street, Ottawa, Illinois, 61350. R.E. Eugene Stevenson, deed 583-5576. Dear Jane, an ordinance establishing Stevenson-Danielson Park was adopted by the City of Marseilles last night at their meeting. Such ordinance shall become effective upon Eugene and Marion Stevenson and Harold and Helen Danielson's executing final conveyance of interest to the city. Enclosed you will find deeds for such. Please have such these executed and returned to the envelope provided. Bob Davis is the commissioner in charge of finance. He and the mayor have taken steps to assure that 75% of funds derived from the city's lease with Verizon Wireless shall be placed into a newly established Stevenson-Danielson Park Fund. City engineer Mike Etscheid is also aware of this project, and I expect him to be working on a conceptual drawing of potential park improvements. As I mentioned by telephone, the property in question is scheduled for some improvements for the radium removal project undertaken by the City of Marseilles, which is being monitored by the IEPA. I do not expect that park improvements will be contemplated until the radium removal project is completed. Please keep in touch with me any concerns that your clients or you have on an ongoing basis. I appreciate the civil concerns that your clients and you have expressed to the city, and I can assure you that the city desires to help carry out the good plans not set in motion.
Okay.
And so again, I'm not making any accusations at all. I'm just saying I'd like our legal to be aware of these things before we have a vote on it.
And we do have a fund established already, Christina, Cell Tower Park Fund. 3863. That the money comes down and it gets split 25% to the.
Okay.
And is that dedicated to Stevens and Danielson Park
I have
solely?
this letter.
Yes, sir.
I do have this letter.
Okay.
And it says the park improvements won't be done until the radium project is done. The park improvements are done. Danielson Stevenson Park is there. I got a picture of it.
Right, the word says fund.
So what is the purpose?
So the purpose of a fund is to keep our promise to the creation of a fund. Again, I'm just,
promise by building the park.
it says fund, and is that 75% solely dedicated to Stevenson
So
Danielson
let's
Park
put
Commissioner?
$200,000 in the park for the fund and let it sit there. That's
We
brilliant.
made a promise to that family who was concerned about a park being up on 10th Street. We
This is form over
have
function.
not kept, I strongly disagree with that. My point is that there are potential legal issues that we should consider. And if Christina then, so that's why I wanted to make a motion to table so that we can work on those, reach out to the resident to see that if her concerns can be assuaged, and if so, then let's go ahead and sell it. But I just think there's a complication here that we might not have considered.
So the area that you're referring to actually worked with the city and was totally fine with where the park is located now. And around $45,000 was donated by Exelon, Constellation, whatever, and made handicap accessible. Up until Broadway Park, that was the only park we had that was handicap accessible. So I just can't see where the air would have any issues when they got what the intention was all along.
Okay, Jean Ackerts is the individual.
I know what you're talking about.
She reached out with concerns, and I believe those concerns are legitimate. And so, again, you know what? If you guys want to have a vote here, that's fine. The debate in 2009 was over whether public use could be substituted for a park, and I don't know that is clear. Just because something is public use, in fact, there are relevant emails attached to it, like this. And granted, the park space, like that property itself, probably is too small to hold a park. That individual land. But in point of fact, Michael, was not the debate with those families regarding whether or not it was a park or whether public use was sufficient. Was a sufficient explanation? Because, okay, so right now, you know what, frankly, I have direct communication from Jean Ackerts expressing concern about this. You want me to read it to you?
Well,
Yeah, what is the concern?
Sure.
well, can Mike eventually have the rest of this thing,
No,
or are you gonna dominate the floor all night?
No, there's
No, I want to hear
Okay.
I know when I was a commissioner, I can tell you now, Patty Smith was mayor. We met with those people. And they agreed to everything up there, Mike.
it. When we had the ribbon cutting for the park, where it is now, the Stevenson family was there. What is the problem now?
Gene Ackerts, 2 years ago, brought in another piece of playground equipment for the park. Why all of a sudden is she against everything we're doing? I have a pretty good idea why, but.
well then please tell us what that is.
Why don't you read her letter? Let's see
No,
what
I'm going to. I have to find it. Frank, I'm sorry. I was under the impression that the legal concerns would be sufficient enough to table it for one meeting if we're going to make a $230,000 deal, and that's why I don't have it right in front of me. Okay.
So Christina, since we're selling the lease, and does that property go with the lease then, correct?
I'd have to see what the lease, I
Mike,
don't have the.
Does property go with the lease?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I would
The
look
lease
at it.
is on the property.
so the lease and the
We're not
property are
selling
both,
the
Hey,
property.
Mike.
It's
It's
not
on
just
the
on the
lease.
cell tower.
yeah.
Okay, Mike, go ahead and finish what you've been trying to
No,
say for 10 minutes.
We've gone over this part, so I was just gonna go through the history of this, we debated it, so. How it ended up where it ended up was because it wasn't big enough. And so we found another spot for it. Bigger, better spot, and we built a park.
And everybody
And
was
we
all
gave
in
the
favor of it and
Danielson
happy.
Okay.
Danielson Stevenson Park.
Since 1978, many terms of Marseilles City Council have taken this from many generations of youth. All the officials knew the original purpose of this gift to our youth. So, again, if
Is that the entirety of the
Yes.
email, Commissioner Shedd?
Yes.
What is her concern from, that doesn't indicate to me a specific concern. Has she outlined that specific concern to you in verbally or beyond that email that you can share with us so that the council has that information before they vote?
Plus, if we sell this park and the 200 and change comes to us.
Park.
No, I mean, if we sell, I'm sorry, if we sell this, the lease on the contract for the property, the money's still gonna go into the fund for the cell tower, sit there.
Okay, now in point of fact, has 75% of the revenue from Cell Tower Park gone specifically to Stevenson Danielson Park?
I think that part's completed, correct?
So no, so the answer is no. The fund was never created,
Never created.
and our ordinance said that we would create one.
Can I interject here just a moment? I think Commissioner Kaminsky said the facts are correct. You said that there is a line item in the budget
Correct.
for this
There's two.
particular fund.
There's one in the police department and one on the general fund.
Is it labeled something other than,
No, it's labeled,
let's start with the facts.
the facts are, it's labeled at Cell Tower Park in the general fund. And then in number 10, which is the police department, it's called Cell Tower.
So there were two separate line items.
Right.
Identified
Correct.
for the funds from this
Yes.
particular park.
Yes.
And that was established, you believe, at some time,
Way before you and I.
2009 or, okay, at some time in 2009, those funds were established.
But 75% of that is not dedicated
That's a
solely.
separate question.
Yes.
Let's get to
Okay,
that.
I'm gonna tell my age here now. The reason part of it went to the police department drug fund was at that time to cover the expenses for the DARE officer and all the materials in that school, to try to educate our children on the dangers of drugs, so.
Yeah, so like, it's not like cell towers are drinking and driving or, you know, needing a drug enforcement, sure. I mean, it's just a strange place to put it, but I understand. But again, my question is specific to, I mean, like the fund is not dedicated solely to that park, is that correct? That 75%, that 386.3?
Well, the park is fully done.
But no, it's not.
What else do we have to do on the park?
What else would do?
Okay.
No, what else do we have to do in the park?
I mean, we bought the handicap swing, that probably came out of here, right? When you guys did that? Excellent about that.
Handicap, that's a handicap park that Exelon helped us funded with money for it. I mean, there's a $60,000 bathroom up there.
I heard 80, but we spent a lot of money on bathrooms, but I definitely like that we have bathrooms.
But, I mean, Mike, on this side of the fence, no matter what the cell tower generated, the city still put additional funds to
Correct.
develop that park, correct?
Right.
Because we
Above
could
and
not.
beyond the amount of.
Beyond, yeah, above the amount of the lease. So, I mean, that's the real question. That's the moot point that Mike's asking. Is the money going 100% towards the park? Well, I could probably say yes, but there's more. It's not just cell towers. In addition to the lease, there's additional monies.
Funds that were spent.
Correct.
Out of general corporate,
Correct.
likely, to maintain and improve the park.
And you can look at it as the money now is reimbursing the city for the money they spent on the park.
Okay, so the fund itself, a Stevenson Danielson or Danielson Stevenson fund park specifically, was that specifically ever created?
No.
Okay, that's my concern, and that's I have been heard, and thank you.
Any other discussion?
Michael?
No. Nothing more.
Okay, I don't blame you for not wanting to finish with the 3 pages or 5 pages I wrote there, because you're gonna get interrupted. Read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky?
Aye.
Small?
Aye.
Shive?
No.
Buckingham?
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck?
Aye. Commissioner Buckingham, number 3.
Moved by Commissioner Buckingham that the engineering, design, and construction services proposal for Illinois Street sanitary, manhole, and sewer rehabilitation be approved.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion?
This one I like.
Yeah, we have, we got $1 million grant. And the grant is for construction only. Engineering is not included, or is administrative fee. So the professional services is to do the design that's necessary, and then also to oversee the construction. This is very similar to what happened on Union and Bluff Street a few years ago.
So Mike, on that side of the fence, you're talking about lining the sewer lines, and then any possible digging up just to replace mains? I mean, do we have big enough mains there? Could you give them some insight on that?
That's why we televised the lines first, to find out a few spots where we wanted to dig it, and would have to dig it up. The concern was we'd have to dig up the street after we found out. What we know now is there's only maybe 2 or 3 or 4 spots we have to dig up, and it's not in the street.
So you think before, whoever does the lining, if it's Performance Pipeline, they'll be able to correct that, hopefully?
They'll be able to correct the whole thing, just like we
Unless
did
they
on.
run into an unexpected problem of not being able to get the lining through there, like what was it, Pacific Street had an issue? Place had an issue, they couldn't get the lining through there.
This is full laterals to the house too, or?
This is the laterals up
With
to the
clean
right-of-way
outs?
line, with a clean out.
Clean outs.
Right-of-way line.
Okay.
And this is, and we already have a bunch of the engineering for the street itself done based on the 2023 MFT, correct? Is that correct?
We have some preliminary engineering done on the street.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Anything else?
$1 billion.
Clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small.
Aye.
Shives.
Aye.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye. Anything else, Commissioner Buckingham?
Yeah, just one thing, I mean, talking about this park issue, I don't remember what year it was, that park's been up there for years, I've been a commissioner for years. But that park was supposed to originally go right next to the radiant treatment plant. I myself as a commissioner, talked to the council back to the mayor. We had a meeting with, lady you just mentioned there a while back, Jean Ackers, and her family. The reason why that park went down where it is right now is that developer at the time, I can't remember who it was, Mike, maybe you do.
Yost Leonetti.
Owed us money. So the only way we got our money is to put that park down there. I didn't want that park by the radiant treatment plant, multi-million-dollar building. I didn't want the kids running through there, getting windows broke out, and that's why it was put down where it was. If you need acres, and I wanna see her father still living. We had that meeting with Patty Smith years ago. Everything is fine. That's why I can't figure out now, all of a sudden, why she's complaining about something.
Yeah, and again, I heard a good faith grievance. The only reason I have that correspondence was because she had a grievance. Apparently, you're not worried about that, and that's fine. But I felt that was my due diligence to get clarity on that matter, and good enough.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, no, and thank you, Buck. It just seems I would be interested in just in general, about the, that a lot of people aren't even aware that cell tower is there. Kind of like just sort of blends into the world, right? Oh, there's a cell tower right by the water. What you're talking about, a water tower, right? You call it something different when like again, it's a letter carrier. But it just seems like the history of that park. We should have some clarity on kind of where all the money came from and what happened to it. And thank you, Buck. That's all.
Okay. Number one for myself.
Moved by Mayor Hollenbeck that the tech services consultant agreement for the build planning application be approved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, this is a grant that we're in the process of applying for. We're gonna vote to accept his proposal to do the grant for us and anything else that goes along with it. We are trying to get funds to do phase 1 and phase 2 for the Sycamore Street Bridge, Washington Street Bridge. Sycamore Street has a 5-ton weight limit. Washington Street has a 20-ton weight limit. Kickapoo Creek, the bridge is structurally sound, but the wing walls are given out. And the Main Street Bridge over the canal. If you notice driving down there, there's a little bit of a dip when you cross it. We did some hydrojacking quite a few years ago and brought it up level, but that's settling again, so that needs to be addressed. So if we get this grant, it will pay for the phase 1, phase 2 engineering, and then we're shovel ready to apply for other grant money. And it speeds it along if you got shovel ready projects. So
I believe the grant is supposed to be awarded sometime in June, so it's not a long wait period.
yeah, we're under the gun on this timeline, so if you're requesting something from Mike or City Hall, I told him that this grant has to take priority because we have to have it in by February 24th, so some of this other stuff is just gonna have to wait.
In case you don't know, the total of the phase one and phase two engineering is over $400,000 for these 4 bridges. So, grant's important.
So, no other discussion, clerk will read the
Who
roll.
do we, I'm sorry, like, who would we be expecting to use, or would we put that out for?
Chamberlain Associates in Peru.
Thank
They
you,
have
Pat.
structural engineers on staff.
Yep.
And we work with them before they do all their bridge inspections.
Yep.
Good firm.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, they're very familiar with all our bridges. Anything else, Michael?
No, thank you.
Okay, clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small. Aye. Shive.
Aye.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye. City engineer, you have anything else?
Nothing else.
City attorney, anything else?
No, Mayor.
I'll entertain a motion to, well, a couple things I wanna cover first. The food pantry over at OSF, this month is gonna be February 7th. 9:30 to 11:30 is registration, they dispense food at 10. The fish fry at the Lions Club is starting February 20th, and we'll go for 9 Fridays, Jim? 7 Fridays, I'm sorry, 7 Fridays. There's also a Valentine's Day party at the Legion. It's always a good time, great food and great music, Tom Edwards. And I met with Rachel earlier in the week. She's been working on documents for the Safe Routes to School, the $250K grant that we were awarded to replace the sidewalks down there. We have no money for that, so people that are putting it out there wanting to know where the money went, we don't get the money until the job's done. I don't think I have anything else, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Small, the city council now adjourned.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Clerk will read the roll.
Commissioner Kaminsky.
Aye.
Small. Aye. Shive.
Aye.
Buckingham.
Aye.
Mayor Hollenbeck.
Aye.
I understand that.
We're kind of looking like we got some things inappropriate. I can't believe that that fire is going to I mean, I wasn't a pea that big, I mean.
Just so you know, he's recording you.
Well, give me the.
Public.
I just wanted you guys to know that he's the most
I owe you lunch someday. You've got a lot of good stuff that's helpful lawsuit.
I do. Hey. Unedited. Always there.
How we doing?
You'll probably get a call for deposition.
That's fine. It's all online.